I was talking fantasy football with my friends the other day.
Oh, Josh? Whoa. Look who's back. Where the hell you been? At home, sitting in your asses?
Go away now, Josh. Actually, my name is Alan.
The dorky white kid with a Cub Scout bandana on his head.
Bravo.
Echo.
November.
Tango. On.
Football.
Welcome back to Bedtime Fantasy Football. Alan and Josh here with you again. Say hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
I knew he was going to do that. He does that every time. So we have a new week number 5 coming up in the NFL.
Week like 36 of our show this year.
Yeah, 36 or 38. I'm not sure, somewhere in there, but we'll figure that out. You know, last show of the season we'll come back.
Well, we probably won't, but oh well.
Yeah. All right.
You'll forget.
We'll both forget. All right, so we want to jump right into what we do every week, and that is our beers.
Our beers.
We want to talk about what we have on our labels this week.
Okay. And
a little bit different than we've had in the last few weeks.
Yeah, so I'm going to go first this week. My beer says, "What the hell is up with our teams?" Now, the Cardinals did win, okay, but they looked horrible.
Mm.
You know, we were watching that game. It was almost
It was brutal.
It was brutal. Yeah, it was almost unwatchable. And the Bears didn't do much better, man. They really laid an egg against the Giants defense. A mediocre Giants defense, should I mention. So
rough week. Also for our fantasy teams, it's been a pretty rough season so far.
Yes.
At least on the league that we're on together.
We both got wins.
We did. So
in fact, we were 12th and 10th. We beat the first and the third ranked team. So
Yep. So high fives to us. That's awesome. My beer, that kind of leads me into my beer, actually.
Okay.
My beer this week says Davis, Everett, and Tucker Insurance.
I've never heard of them. Are they new in town? Or?
No, it's not our new sponsor. Or anything like that. Although if there is a Davis, Everett, and Tucker out there, you know, we've already done something for you. So, you know, reach out to us.
There probably is somewhere.
Probably. I hope they see this video.
And don't sue us. Yeah.
All right. The reason I have Davis, Everett, and Tucker on here is because this week on my other fantasy league, which I, by the way, am 4-0 on, just to toot my own horn a little, I did some free agent pickups. I got some new players. I got Corey Davis from the Jets. Is that Chris Everett?
Don't call me Chris.
I knew you'd catch that.
Yes.
All right, but anyway, I got Gerald Everett. I got Justin Tucker. So I had some awesome free agent pickups.
Yeah.
I unloaded some garbage off my team. Why these guys were available, I don't know. I don't care. At the end of the season, we'll talk about my bid strategy on some of these. I don't want to talk about it right now in mixed company.
Yes.
But I will talk about more about that. Just remind me.
I'm really shocked that Everett and Tucker. Now Davis, I mean, depending on the Garrett Wilson injury, he could be a really good value. But Everett and Tucker, seriously?
Well,
those guys got to be owned, and they have to be owned in any competitive fantasy league.
The huge majority of leagues that are going to be owned, absolutely.
Yes.
So with Davis also, I don't know that it's going to make a whole lot of difference who the quarterback is going to be there. They don't have a ton of targets.
Well, I think Zach Wilson had his coming out party last week. I like Corey Davis much better with Zach Wilson.
Is there breaking news that I don't know about?
He had a good game last week, and I think he cemented himself as the starter.
All right, fair enough.
Every mom's favorite quarterback is probably going to be the new starter.
Yep. All right, let's get these beers open. I am getting thirsty, and this thing's starting to bubble on me a little bit. So pop open a cold one, sit back, and enjoy the show.
We do want to remind you guys, too.
That's my favorite part of the show.
Yes, like, subscribe, share. We do this for you. We make asses of ourselves week in, week out, to provide a little, entertainment for you. If you know anybody that is in fantasy football or just is a football fan or a sports fan, share it with them. They may get a kick out of it as well. But we appreciate all of our subscribers we have now. What do we have, 29? 28?
28.
28, okay.
So we're really close to that 1,000 mark.
Yes.
972.
And remind me, though, what's the 1,000 mark for?
Oh, that way we can do live on Facebook, or on YouTube. We can do a YouTube live, and we can go on location. We're working on some things with some places where we might be able to do an on location this season, and we'll give you more details as they become available. But yeah, I mean, we need 1,000, so we're 972 away.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Good math skills there, Ellen. I didn't know you had it in you.
I did that earlier and put it on my phone so I wouldn't forget it.
He's got it written up on the wall there.
I do. No, but seriously, getting back to that, please do that. Like, subscribe, and share. We'd love to hear any feedback you have on the show. Put your remarks in the comments down below. Doesn't matter what it is, good, bad, indifferent. I don't care. We just want somebody to respond to, our show and tell us what they think.
Yeah.
So you want to jump into the next segment, Josh?
Yes.
All right, this is going to be a good one.
We're going to do this. We started this last year, didn't we? Yeah, we did. About midway through the season, I think.
Yep.
But what's what's got us bent?
Yep.
Now, what's got us bent? I'm sure many of you heard the news about Antonio Brown over the last week. We all knew Antonio Brown was not a very decent human being, but with his latest transgressions in the resort pool, I'm not going to go into details, but he is facing charges now. He was expelled from the resort, and
he exposed himself. Allegedly.
Allegedly with a video. There is a video out there if you guys want to just search for it on one of the search engines. I'm not going to go into details, but
Google.
I hope he faces the highest penalties under allowable under law.
I do too. It if you watch the video, and unfortunately Josh made me watch it before we went on the air. If you watch the video though, it's you can tell. I'm not going to go into detail. If you want to watch it, watch the video. I don't want to give this thing any more attention than it deserves.
Well, the main thing to me is, why are you naked in a public pool? That, first of all, should put you on the sex offender list.
Yes. So, yeah, that's what's got us bent this week. And, I just say this. Look, Antonio Brown, if you're watching.
He's probably not.
And I know you're watching.
No, he's not. He's too busy out naked in a pool somewhere.
I can't even say it.
Yes.
I can't even say it.
Get bent, Antonio Brown.
Yeah, get bent. Not on fantasy football either. We take away any invitation we would have ever given you to the show. So
yes.
Anyway, moving on. That's got me bent. So
that's got us bent. So
we've got something really, really cool to report on this week. We've got our Cup Watch. And for those of you who don't know what that is, basically we're watching Cooper Kupp this year to see how many receptions he has, how many targets he has, yards, the whole 9 yards. We're kind of going through the whole thing to see if he sets any records. We predicted from the beginning of the season that with the amount of, or the volume that he's getting,
he could get close to 200 catches.
Absolutely.
Now, he did have a little down week last week, if you remember. 6 targets, I believe, 4 catches. He did have a rushing touchdown, surprisingly enough. But that's only because they didn't need to throw. Now, this week, these numbers really surprise us because the Rams were held without a touchdown. Mm-hmm. They really got dominated in that game against San Francisco. Nonetheless, Cooper Kupp still had 19 targets, 14 catches, and 122 yards.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's insane. If you would have told me he was going to get 14 catches, I would have figured 2 touchdowns,
and
maybe 3.
And if you're like at work or doing something while the games are going on, and you pull that up on your phone and you look at that and go, "Oh man, look at that score! This is going to be terrible." Then you pull up Kupp's numbers, you're going to be stunned.
Yeah.
Because who expects that in when the Rams are being beaten so bad?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But year to date, we're looking so far 54 targets, which through 4 games, that's 13.5 targets a game.
Yep.
Good
math skills are Josh.
Yeah, 42 catches, so just under 11 a game. 402 yards, averaging right around 100, and then 4 touchdowns. So His touchdown, he's regressed a little bit since the first 2 weeks where he was on pace for 26 touchdowns. But when we extrapolate that over the course of an entire season, we're looking at 230 targets. I mean, that's insane.
It's just a huge. I mean, that's like your entire offense for some teams.
Oh yeah,
the Bears.
Oh yeah. And then 179 slash 180. We'll say 180 receptions. Okay, just over 1,700 yards, which is wide receiver one elite tier any year, and then 17 touchdowns.
Yep.
So we're going to keep an eye on this, and we hope he does set historic records.
It'd be amazing. In my lifetime, I've seen home run records broken. I've seen all kinds of sports records broken. To see something like that would be really cool. Cooper Kupp, awesome athlete. It's
well, the record's 20. Remember who set that back with Brady in New England?
Oh, it would have been Moss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he can beat the 20 receiving touchdowns.
Yep. So we'll keep an eye on Coop, and we'll let you know what's going on with him. We want to jump into something next. I'm excited about this. I'm really excited about this. The start and sit.
Well, you should be after last week.
I am. We had a good week last week, and this week's going to be even better. So, Josh, why don't you get us going on it?
Yeah, so if you guys remember, going into last week, I was 6-2. Alan was 2-6. Now, Alan went 4-0. With his Burrow pick, put up over 20. Jamal Williams, who I have on my team, I cannot get that name wrong, put up just under 30. Mike Evans put just over 30 up, and Dallas Goedert right around 10. So we're looking, his 4 starters scored over 90 points.
Yep.
That's pretty amazing. So he went 4-0, brings his year-to-date record to 6-6.
Yep.
I did go 3-1. Where I really got hurt was Dobbins. Those 2 touchdowns, really hurt me. But
other than that, it was pretty solid across the board.
Yeah, Hurts got shut down for the most part. If it wasn't for that rushing touchdown, he would have been just under 10 points.
Yep.
He still scored 16, but he's less. That's about 8 to 10 points less than what he's averaging.
It is.
Christian Kirk was pretty much silenced the entire game until
late
in the third. Yeah, late in the third quarter, he did score 7.3. But if you're looking for a wide receiver 2, that's really not the good numbers. Komet scored 3.1. So,
solid win.
Solid win. So our year-to-date records are 6-6 for Allen,
Yep.
9-3 for me.
Yep.
Now I did sits last week, so I'm going to do starts this week. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So starting at quarterback, I really like Aaron Rodgers this year. Now, I know he's had a few subpar games. That game really boggled my mind last weekend against New England. I mean, they were 9.5-point favorites. We were talking about that, and we both thought, man, that's way too much, and they proved it. So he really put up a lackluster performance, but I see big things coming, especially because that Green Bay defense is not very good.
Right.
Daniel Jones is really coming into his own this year. And with Saquon, I think you're going to have to put up numbers in that matchup. So I like Rodgers.
I'm going to say that's actually a good pick. I like that. But I'm going to say this. I don't think Daniel Jones, because you caught me on that, I don't think Daniel Jones is actually coming to his own. I think Saquon Barkley is making Daniel Jones better. That's what I think is happening. If you look over the last 2 years, you'll see what I'm saying. I'm not a big Daniel Jones fan. No offense, Daniel, because I know you're watching.
No offense. No offense.
No offense. Anyway, moving on.
But yeah, I agree with you. I really like Madison this week. Now I know he is the backup to Cook. They've been really using Madison in those goal line situations as we've seen the last couple weeks. I think Madison has 2 touchdowns over the last couple weeks.
They've been using him more inside of the 5 and using Cook outside of the 5.
Yeah, and he's averaging double-digit points against. I hate to say it because they're my second favorite team, against a mediocre at best Bears defense. The Bears. They are not looking. I know it hurts me too to say that, but they are not looking very good.
Their pass defense is better than the run defense, but ouch, it hurts.
And the pass defense still isn't the best.
They actually are pretty good against wide receivers. We'll talk about more.
Okay.
We'll talk more about that next week.
My next guy, wide receiver, I really like Robert Woods. With the Treylon Burks injury, and they're playing Washington, by the way. With the Treylon Burks injury, Robert Woods is the clear go-to number one, as we saw last week. He got his first touchdown of the year. I expect big things from him this week. Now, if Treylon does come back, I don't think he will, then that really could eat into Woods' targets. But I think Woods is set for a wide receiver 1/2 matchup in this game.
I like Robert Woods. I liked him when he was with the Rams. I like him now. He's a talented wide receiver. He's going to do just fine. It's going to take some time to settle in. And there's obviously an adjustment period there, but I like Robert Woods overall as a wide receiver. So, nice choice.
Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you,
You won't
Alan.
hear that again. So.
Yeah. And then my last guy for tight end is going to be Zach Ertz. Now, I'm not saying this because at Arizona,
Your what hurts?
my Zach Ertz. Shut up, Alan. No, I'm not saying that because my Cardinals are world beaters on offense, but they're playing Philadelphia. They're going to have to put up points to be in that game. And I see a lot of junk yardage, to those mid-range receivers, especially to Ertz, What boggles my mind is Philly is an actual 5.5 point favorite on the road at Arizona. I don't see that. I would have figured 2 to 3 maybe.
Yeah, I think you should be a little bit closer too.
But I think Arizona's going to have to throw a lot, and I do hope they win, like I say every week, even though they don't most weeks. But that's why I have Ertz. I think the volume is going to be there. It has to be there.
Mm-hmm. I like that pick as well. Actually, you know what? You had some picks that I actually liked this week.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, let's
Well,
move
seeing
on.
that I'm 9-3 and you're 6-6 year to date, then
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint, buddy. So, all right. So let's jump into sit-ems then.
jump into sets.
All right. So I'm going to give you a no-brainer, and the reason I picked this one out is for two reasons. One, obviously, I want you to sit him this week, but number two, I'm warning you to sit him the rest of the season as well. That's Baker Mayfield. Playing against San Francisco. San Francisco's defense is ranked number 2 against quarterbacks. So I don't see a whole lot of production coming out of Baker Mayfield this week. Him and Christian Kirk, I'm sorry, not Christian Kirk, Christian McCaffrey, actually connected up, and they looked pretty in sync last week, but this is a tough San Francisco defense. This is not something that's going to be easy for him.
And I think they proved that by holding the prolific Rams offense to 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, now last week, Mayfield was 22 of 36 for 197 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. From a fantasy perspective, in a football
against a
perspective,
mediocre team too,
right,
nonetheless.
Right. From a fantasy perspective and from a football perspective, both, not a good choice this week. Definitely not a good choice.
Yeah,
So,
I've officially jumped off and left the Baker bandwagon. I was big on him last year, thinking he was going to play for a big contract, and he disappointed.
he may end up just mowing grass in Cleveland.
That's
For a
true.
living. Who knows? But moving on to running backs. This one's going to surprise some people, but Miles Sanders is my pick this week.
Okay.
The reason is he's playing a number 5 ranked defense with Arizona against the run.
Yes.
They've given up an average of 87 yards per game, which actually sounds pretty bad if you think about it, but on average, that's actually pretty low.
Well, considering too that Sanders is probably only going to get about 55-60% of those carries, so
Right.
that's probably 50 yards.
Right. So all in all, I think it's a bad week to start Sanders.
I sure hope so. I sure hope so.
You playing against him this week, are you?
No, but my Cardinals are playing against him,
Oh,
so
there you go. All
yeah.
right. I'll give you that. Then.
So if he has a big game, then we're both screwed. So
Fair enough. Wide receiver. So Michael Pittman Jr. is my pick this week to sit. The reason is number 5 ranked Denver defense against wide receivers. They've only given up 3 touchdowns to wide receivers all season long.
isn't that something?
It is. That's pretty impressive. I've seen some of the teams had 7, 8, 9, and on up to double digits, but so pretty impressive for Denver. This is his. He'll be up against Patrick Surtain. Okay, the second, by the way.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny. Michael Pittman and Patrick Surtain, both second generation.
Yes.
But anyway,
Michael Pittman's father, Michael Pittman, the first, played for the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay. I knew he was going to fit that in somewhere. I just knew it when I was thinking about this. So, but you've got a little bit more experience with Patrick Surtain or with Michael Pittman than you do with Patrick Surtain. However, do you remember Patrick Surtain the first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you remember what a shutdown DB he was?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I think it's hereditary because Junior's got it too. I mean, the second's got
Well,
it too.
he wouldn't have been drafted so high if he wasn't a shutdown corner. You know what I mean?
So he's a tough cornerback to play against. So Pittman's like I said, got a little bit more experience, but I think that Denver defense is going to be too much.
Did you see that stat? I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. It was one of the two when Matt Ryan threw 40 times and Pittman had 3 targets. And that's I don't know if they're going more towards.
See that?
Yeah, I think it was this past week, but I think Pittman's going more to those tight ends. You had Mo Alley Cox get 2 touchdowns. Paris Campbell's getting a lot more targets. I don't know why they're going away from him. You know what's going on?
They're trying to get a lot of mouths to feed there,
Yeah.
which is awesome for an offense, terrible for a fantasy team.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, just the matchup itself, and the lack of no Jonathan Taylor to take some pressure off the wide receivers. I think you're gonna see a really really rough game from Pittman this week.
I think you're going to see a rough game from Indy this week.
In general, yeah, I totally got you on that one.
But I like it. I like it.
All right, so tight ends. Pat Fryermuth is the one that I decided to sit this week.
Okay.
You know why?
They're playing Buffalo.
They're playing Buffalo's #1 ranked defense against tight ends. So they've only given up 3 touchdowns to tight ends and receivers, or I should say 3 touchdowns to receivers of any kind this year. Again, very, very tough. Pat Fryermuth has been a severe disappointment for me this year.
Yeah, me too.
I have him on our Yahoo League, and it hasn't been doing anything for me. So he's a sit, and season long I'd watch him too because
You might not have him much longer in our Yahoo League if he keeps this up, man.
Amen.
Yeah.
Hail Mary on that. All right.
Hail Mary, Hail Mary full of grace. Isn't that what they say?
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Doesn't matter. All right, so we got our starts and sits. We're going to improve on these records. It's 6-6 and 9-3. We're both going to improve on those. So check us out next week and get the results, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So now my favorite news segment.
Yes.
We've got an awesome name for it. We used to call it Ben Predictions. We kind of incorporated that with WOMF.
What the heck is WOMF?
I'm telling you, it's Wheel of Misfortune.
Misfortune's one word. It should be WOM.
Not if you spell it MISS.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. I gotta let him have some of these.
Fortune. Not Mr.
You
Fortune.
may lose the battle, but you'll win the war. So, all right, we'll call it WOMF. Okay.
Now, if you don't like it, we can take it to the producer and the director and talk to them and see what they say.
Let's do it.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
I'd like you to meet the producer and the director. So, the director says it's fine.
All right. You know what? I like it. We're gonna double Allen's and mine. 0 salary. We're gonna double them. So
Double it?
yes, that's awesome.
Give me a
Cheers.
toast to
Cheers to that.
Hell's yeah.
But just a recap of last week on our WOMF, Allen went 3-0. He did push one game, so it was a no contest.
Why do you sound surprised when you say I went 3-0?
No, I'm patting you on the back, Allen.
You're not impressed. You're like, I figured he'd do that.
No, I'm touting.
Okay. All right.
The only one that he was no contest on was Buffalo -3 that pushed.
Yeah.
So what did I have? I went 2-2. Now, okay, I did have Tennessee -3.5.
Okay.
That did cover. The over did not.
Right.
Detroit -4. I thought they would blow out Seattle. Seattle is not a good team. But they scored 45 points and lost. But the over 48, Seattle scored 48 by themselves.
That's the NFL for you right there.
Yes. So I went 2-2. So year to date, Allen's 3-0 with 1 no contest, and I'm 2-2. So I believe I went first last week. So
yes, you did.
Allen's gonna spin the
WOMF.
and he's gonna be forced to make 2 predictions.
Gub was bad enough. Now we got a WOMF. All right. So my 2 predictions will be on the the Detroit New England game.
Okay.
I thought you said you didn't put the boring ones in the purple anymore.
Well, I lied. So
You did.
so New England is a 3-point favorite. And what's the over/under is 45.5. So Allen has to pick both of those one way or another.
I'm gonna go under on the over and under.
Okay.
Under the 45.5.
Under 45.5.
And then for the outcome, I'm going to take New England and say they'll cover those 3 points.
Okay. All right. So Allen, he's got New England -3 and under 45.5. So that means it's my turn for WOMF.
WOMF it.
WOMF it. Las Vegas KC. Ooh, I like that game.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one.
KC is 7-point favorites at home. The over/under is 51. I see no problem with that 51. They just put up 72, combined when they played Tampa Bay. So I love the over 51. Kansas City, Las Vegas is not playing well lately. I like Kansas City -7 and the over 51.
Ooh, you like Kansas City in the -7?
I do.
Okay. All
All right.
I'll give you that. I do. I will say this, and not that it's going to move the needle a ton, but Hunter Renfrow may be back this week. Just for your guys' knowledge, and I don't know if you knew that or not, but he may be back this week.
We don't know yet, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
Keep an eye on the injury reports and for Friday and make sure that you know the correct info. But I don't know that it's going to move the needle a lot, but it does change their offense.
It does.
I like Las Vegas. I like Las Vegas, and I like Las Vegas. If I had a second favorite team to pick, no offense, Josh, I'm not going to take Arizona. It's going to be Las Vegas.
All right. And for that, guys, I am out. No, I'm just kidding.
Quits.
And for that reason, I'm out.
You Shark Tanked me.
Yes.
All right. So I like that, though, because I think with or without Hunter Renfrow, I think that Kansas City, I think they could actually cover that 7.
They could. I'm not as confident about the Kansas City -7 as I am the 51. I think that number.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. That's a tough one. All right. So we got our bet predictions.
We do two. Two a
that's
week.
right.
Yeah. So you got to spin the WOMF.
I get the WOMF again.
WOMF it.
WOMF it. All right. So for this one. Chicago and Minnesota.
Yes.
Minnesota is favored by 7.5. And the over/under is 44.
Alan did say last week that he was done talking about the Bears, but the nice thing about WOMF is sometimes it forces you to talk about the Bears.
It does. All right. I got to pick a winner in this one. I got to go with my head, not my heart, and say Minnesota's going to win.
Are they going to cover the 7.5?
They are going to cover the 7.5.
Okay. And what about that? What is it? 40, 44?
44. Man. I got to go with the over on that.
Okay.
I know I probably should go with the under. You know what? I'm changing. I'm going to go with the under.
Okay.
I'll go under.
So you got 2 unders. So that means Minnesota could beat them 41-3 and it'd be a push.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
That was my angle.
I agree with the under on that. I don't necessarily think Minnesota could beat them by 7.5 though, but that's why it's WOMF.
Yeah, it is. It's Womphy.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to WOMF it here.
Womp it. Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Yeah, that is the second worst game. Yeah, I did write the bad ones in purple again. So,
awesome.
Cincinnati, Baltimore. Baltimore's at home. Baltimore is the 3-point favorite. That's pretty much automatic for any home team. Over-under is 47. I like Cincinnati plus the 3. I really do. Baltimore, their defense is keeping them in games. Their offense really isn't showing a lot besides Lamar Jackson. So I like Cincinnati plus the 3. Now, the over-under on that is 47. I like the over on that. Both teams can score points, as we've seen. And neither team has the greatest defense. Now, last week was a fluke, I think, in that first half against Buffalo. They were up 20-3. Baltimore looked like they were completely dominating. I don't know if there were some cobwebs on the Buffalo part, but their defense is not as good as it made them look.
No, I don't think so either. I would probably dial that back just a little bit though, because I think they're better than what most people think.
I do too, but I think Burrow and that Cincinnati offense could score on just about anybody.
I think so too. Totally love those picks because you took the over on it.
Oh,
God. I'd love them more if they were my picks, but they're not. So
well, it's determined by WOMF, so you
It
can't decide.
it's right. It's right.
The
All
WOMF
right.
has spoken.
So no, but the over, I definitely would go with the over on that for sure.
So you got 2 unders, I got 2 overs. I got a home team and a road team. You got 2 home teams.
Yep.
All right. So we will see. Alan again is 3-0 and 1 no contest. I'm 2-2. We'll keep a running tally and we'll see where we are next week.
Yep.
I hope you do go 4-0 again,
I will.
Yeah.
I will. You watch.
or at least 3-0, maybe a push or something. But
no, I'll go 4-0. You
I want
watch.
you. Yeah. All right.
You watch. This is
All right, you do it.
I turned it around last week, brother.
He did.
I'm serious now.
Oh, you're just getting serious now?
Yeah.
Week 5 of
Yeah. No, week 4.
Week 4
Be fair.
of
be
the
fair.
3rd season.
Yeah, week 4. Why not?
Yeah.
Well, time to get serious.
Yeah.
Well, fantasy football. All right. So we are going to come back next week. But before I go away, or before we go away, we want to remind you guys to like, subscribe, and share. Please do that. Get it out to some people that have not seen our video. Get it out to some people that love fantasy football, or love watching 2 guys make an ass out of themselves. I don't really care. Just get it out to more people, and somebody's bound to like us, right? Other than the 28 we got
Yeah,
already.
even if they don't like us, just watch still.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just sit it down, play it someplace on your couch, and
There you
walk away
go.
and do something else.
There you go.
But anyway, I guess for those of those people out there that haven't subscribed, they really need to get bent.
On fantasy football.